Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Today we have an exciting special guest with who we just had another technical difficulty.
See, I just said it. I just said we're gonna do it the third time. So this is the third time. We're trying to do this for you guys, and this is a magic number, so this is gonna be it.
That's right. So you were just telling me about how you got into modeling. Do you mind going back over that real quick?
Okay, hi guys, I'm Kristina Menissov, and I'm a model, recording artist, and most importantly, I'm a mom. So I got into modeling in 2017. I mean, let me rephrase it. I started taking it seriously as something that I should be investing into, as something that could be paying back. Because before that, I modeled a little bit in my home country, Kazakhstan, when I was born and raised. But over there, I only thought of it as something that could be only a hobby. Because, for example, in Kazakhstan Fashion Week, during the show, model will be paid for the whole day around $20. We could make a little bit of a money on like promo modeling. I did a little bit of promo modeling for like tobacco companies, so that those would be paid more. But it's not something a model over there could rely on and just think of it like, oh, I'm gonna build up a name and it's gonna be paying off for some time, right? So I'm secure. Um, I'm so sorry. Was there like another because it was glitching a little bit. I was trying to good.
Yeah,
So
you're good. Yeah.
oh my God, I was just like, I think I see something. Okay. So yes, in Kazakhstan, it's not something where model could feel secure during modeling. So that's why I didn't take it seriously. But when I moved here as an immigrant, I was going through a tough time. I didn't really know what to do. And I got into modeling because at that time, I have already built up a little bit of like a platform on social media, which was very helpful. And at that time, it was definitely much smaller, but it was only supporters, only people who were actually curious about how I'm gonna do it. Hi, like what am I doing in Los Angeles and how am I surviving? So I would share my struggles with them, and this is how I started modeling because they would like be encouraging and they were like, okay, you should go and try. And I was like, I am still to this day so grateful to that very like great community that I had, because right now it's so much bigger, but I feel like I also like lost a little bit of connection with some of my followers because of the amount of people that I try to connect with. Yes, I was insecure and I thought that I'm too old. I was 22 and I thought I'm old, which is thankfully modeling business. Modeling business is something that is actually evolving and becoming so much better. Um, so like that's what I like about modeling right now, because it's not about the like in unhealthy standards that we're actually like going very hard on young girls, right? Like, because I feel like girls since the age 15 would, if they would even try to dream about being a model, they would start going through like crazy exercise workouts, and then diets that were not healthy and not healthy for a growing um person's body, right? Like, not, we're not even gonna say like women's, it's not healthy for anybody at that age. At that age we should be eating as much as possible and make sure that we get like the variety of food, a variety of vitamins, because it's like we cannot just go into keto at that age. I don't believe at like 16 any of those extreme measures are healthy.
Right.
So,
I didn't disagree with
and
you at all.
yeah, so right now I feel like it's so much better. It's so much like it doesn't have that pressure, and it's so much more welcoming. Like anybody could become a model if they are just, like like now it is about if you know what to do and if you're good at it, then you have a fair shot at the modeling.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the way times have changed. It's more accepting to not just be, for lack of better terms, a stick figure. You could be, a full size model, or I guess what they would call curvy models and things like that. Even bigger guys like myself are models, for larger companies like Casual Male and stuff like that, which is just 15 years ago, you didn't have that. I mean, you had people that modeled the type of clothing, but they didn't look like you or me or just the average person off the street.
Right. So it's so much more inclusive, and that's amazing. So I'm very proud of the modeling industry right now.
Yeah, I'm not a part of that, obviously, just seeing how things have transitioned from even when I was a kid, you could kind of remember certain tidbits and walking down aisles and seeing certain magazines and things like that. And you go look at that stuff now, and it it not really doesn't really make you scratch your head, but it makes you go, why didn't we do this earlier?
Right. So, and yes, I feel like there was like a whole generations of people who would just be growing up like and thinking that they don't have a chance, they shouldn't even do it. They would like, I mean, I'm sure right now because of the social media, there is another generation of people who's growing up and then they're gonna have their insecurities to overcome too. So therapists are always gonna be well paid.
Right.
Yeah, but jokes aside, I think it's so much healthier right now. And even social media is evolving as well. I feel like there's more and more influencers on social media who are going for like no filter look. They do like no makeups. They show how they look and how they can glow up. There's nothing wrong with like glowing up and doing your makeup, but also we just shouldn't forget like how we look like, because sometimes with those filters, like I remember myself, there was a moment when I would be using too many filters, and honestly, it's not about if you look better or worse for a woman with a filter. It's about you just get used to a certain look, and if filter change something on your face, then of course without the filter you're not gonna like, because it's just gonna look different, not because you don't like yourself. So it just took me, when I realized that, it took me like a good 2 months to start liking again my image without the upgrade of filters, right? Because at the beginning I was like, like my hands were going, like, oh, I wanted to go like and start using filters. That's why I actually created one really nice filter that I'm so proud of. That doesn't change the way girls look. It just enhances a little bit like of imperfections that we could have in the morning if like we don't like a little bit something in order there is a pimple. So that was it, but without fully changing the look. Actually, it's so good that even Demi Lovato uses it all the time.
And see, that's amazing because not only does that, and from my perspective, not only does that help boost that person's self-esteem, that when I'm not doing this and they're not editing this and that, I'm being myself, and when you see me on the street, this is what you see.
Hmm.
And that's
Right.
that's not something that a lot of industries have now, where if you are yourself to a degree, even if it's 50 or 70%, where people welcome you for who you are. We're starting to get
Hmm.
there, but it's taken a while.
Right. It was like a little bit of a swing with everything, but we actually, I don't think it was like good, like when that filter became like very popular. I would say like 2016. So it's been like good 5, 6 years, which I don't think is that long for like the whole, like if we're looking as a world, like on the time of world. So I think we're doing good. We're gonna get there. Just need to hang a little more.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll have to forgive me. I wrote some notes because last time I didn't do that. So, I'm always curious about something. When you have your life thrown or thrust into spotlight, so to speak, and then you start to grow, whether it be social media or through like magazine publication, how does that change things for you? And what is it like to have that where you can go down the street and, you know, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are going to know who you are. And what is it like with the negative ups and downs that come with that kind of fame?
Um, well, um, I would say it's like I'm very low key when when it comes to the regular life. When I'm dropping off my son at school, I I just I guess don't look like, I try to be like as low key as possible. Plus, I'm so lazy in the morning. I can't make myself to put anything but the same hoodie that I had like when I was putting him together. So, but then yes, like there are some negative moments. Like for example, I like my son could be having a play date and eventually like people would get like interested like, oh, how it is going, and then it kind of like becomes like not fully a moment for us to connect as just two parents, but the rather kind of like a little bit of a, I would say like awkward energy. So like sometimes of like for me like the only negative moments were usually like during those like awkward energy when I actually just like in the my regular mom life, for example, and I I kind of like don't want to come and like come out as like this a person from social media that they obviously already followed. I guess that's what we do right now, right? We
Right.
like kind of research everybody like who our kids are with. So and and it is like I feel like it takes a while for people to get to know me as a person, and I like to think of myself that I'm very like down to earth and very cool and chill, but and I think that I try to like show that on my social media more of my personality than my work. I try to like have a few like portfolio shots displayed because that's what my agency requires. But most of the time I try to show like my personality and that I'm a mom. But still like when I just know people in real life after a little research about me, right? It takes it takes longer for that like energy to cool down and for them to kind of like start just like talking to me as another mom who is going to be volunteering this week on a on a traffic duty at school.
And see, that's really cool to hear because, you know, you don't hear that people that are in the spotlight, even just to a little bit of degree, whether it be social media or through being a model or something, anything like that, that, they would be just normal people. At least there's that illusion that there's more to that person. And it's always great to see that when you have somebody who has that fame and people gravitate to you and are able to see that, hey, I put my pants on and shoes on just like you, one leg and one foot at a time. I'm just a normal person.
That's so funny that you would say that because you know what? Before I moved to America, I came here to study in 2010. And in 2010, when I was actually coming to Los Angeles to study, I was so surprised because I was living in a host family. Um, and I was so surprised. I remember I was calling my mom and I was telling them so amazed. Like, can you imagine? They get up in the morning and they go shower just like us and they brush their teeth just like us and they do everything just like us. So yes, it's like I feel like that's how it is. Like it's more about like no matter like where I feel like the life goes on and then um it's I feel like everybody's like going through like good and bad and it doesn't matter the account number or the social media number or any like number, like people kind of live like very similar stuff. Maybe like some works for some of their perks in life longer and harder, and that's why they're enjoying it right now. Or like maybe someone's time didn't come yet, but I feel like on a regular basis we do have like very similar stuff. We get up, we like as a mom, like yeah, I get up and my son doesn't care if I have a shoot today or not. Like we get up and we go to school, right? So it's like or um he is the main reason that I always like focus then, or if I don't have any like if I'm not in the mood to do something, it doesn't matter, right? I still have the duties to do. So it's like they're like I feel like these are good these are good things. And one of the another negative thing about this, so it's also like very similar. It's usually comes in my regular life because in general I'm a very shy person. Like if that would be like an event or a party or anything, I'd be like usually standing on a side, and I'm like I'm not a person, even though like it might look on social media that I could like just walk in and then be life of the party. Usually I'm just like staying on the side, and because of like my accounts and then publications, people often think that I'm standing on the side because I'm not interested, or I'm like thinking I'm too cool. No, I'm just shy, and I don't know where to start because also English is not my first language. So it's like, but I didn't know that for a long time until a few people like told me that later on. So now I usually this is what I do. I kind of like try to announce it as much as possible that I'm not mean. I'm just shy, and sometimes my relaxed features could look a little mean. Like, but I don't do it like I don't do it on purpose. Like I just how I am.
And you know, there are people out there like that. And it's weird how that perception of, you know, I saw you on whatever social media platform and you were this ball of energy. And then you see him in person and you're like, are we even meeting the same person? That,
Right.
that's just it's like being a salesman or, you know, whatever you can think of as far as job wise. You're not like that at home. You know, you're more likely, especially if you're in the public eye to any degree, you're more low key and laid back and try to not make things as exciting to a degree as it could be in your profession.
Mhm. That is true.
You know, and one thing I've been interested in when you're doing photo shoots, you know, what kind of stuff goes on behind the scenes that most people wouldn't think would be the case? Because I would imagine there's a lot of process that goes into it. And then, you know, when you're doing the photo shoot, what is that process like, and what is the feeling of having all these people around you taking pictures and watching you, you know, get for lack of better terms, get prettied up and have you know have your picture taken and know what's going on.
Mm. I think um I think m- most of the shoots people that don't know that most of the shoots are actually like very regular boring job. It's not as exciting as it looks. Like for example, like most of the shifts are a full working day, 8 hours with a lunch after 4 hours, and it could depend. Like it could depend. It could vary. Sometimes the lunch is paid. Sometimes the lunch is not paid. And during like there's also an hour extra sometimes before for the makeup. So it's just a long day, and if it's an e-com shoot, for example, and it gets even it feels really like just a regular job because it's not a it doesn't look like those like videos even on social media, right? Like give me more passion. No, like ecom, we go and we knock down like 100 dresses, and you just go and change, knock knock, like picture next picture, and it also could be like a big variety between, oh, you should be friendly, but not too chatty, because too chatty could be like if you're going to be slowing down on your pictures, then like then on your dresses, then they're going to be like, oh, she was so friendly, but we ended up only taking 70 pictures, like 70 dresses. So and then usually for days like 100 and two or whatever. And
Wow.
well, maybe next time we could use someone else. So it's like it's this balance of everything, and there is, and only during the lunch we try to like the team, we usually like make a few jokes, but eventually we're just eating because the lunch keeps going. And then after that, for models, it kind of like cuts a little shorter, the hour cuts a little shorter, or like the 30 minutes, because, and for makeup artists, because we eat and then we have to go fix our lips. So it's kind of like a regular job. I was very surprised too. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, where, like, yes, it feels like a glam and like all amazing, but eventually you're like, okay, we gotta like you see the rack with all the clothes or like the shoes, and that you have to go through, and you're just looking, and then you like looking at it, and you're just like, okay. Sometimes the rack is getting like less, and you're like, oh yay, we're almost at the end, because I don't wear a watch, right? Like we don't have a watch. So I'm kind of like approximately trying to count how much, like how many hours left and before the lunch or before the end of the day. And then I'm like, oh yay, the rack is almost done. And then kind of like trying to squeeze in there the question like, oh, 10 more dresses, right? And they're like, no, there is one more rack behind this one. Ah, so it's kind of like, yeah, those, so yeah.
So it's, I mean, essentially it is like a regular job.
One thing that surprised me, I was like, okay, now, like for example, the Vogue shoot, when I was in the cover of Vogue, that was uh different, because it was we weren't going through so many looks, we weren't going through the ecom. We had four good looks, I believe, and we had the jewelry, and then the security guards, like per each case there was two security guards.
Oh God.
And that was like, wow, like, and after like all the glamming up and becoming ready, like we like got dressed, and then just come out like this, and they put everything on your hand, but you cannot like, and then I forgot, and I just tried to go to the restroom with all that. It was a mistake. If we want to go to the restroom, we have to take this everything off, because it wasn't like regular stuff. I went to the restroom, I said, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. So now I come out again, and they again put everything. They're like, okay, why didn't you do that before? Because now they have to clean and re-clean and put it on. It's like, that was different. That was something that was like, wow. I felt like, wow, did I make it? This is this it? Like, is this it? Did I make it? There's like, that's it. Am I doing this? So yes. Um,
And that's not something that, you know, people who aren't in that industry would immediately think of as, yeah, the, you know, what we're modeling, whether it be jewelry or clothes, can be relatively on the expensive side, that you would have to have people there going, stay here. All right, if you go anywhere, give it back.
right, because like I think before Vogue, I was mostly working with kind of like more like smaller companies, um, which was more like there wouldn't be security, and even if it's a jewelry, they kind of trust us. Like, sure, like put it on and go hang, and if like if I wanted to, I could run away, but it's like I just didn't know that it would be like to this level, because I was like, "Yeah, but the bathroom," because I tried to say something. I was like, the bathroom doesn't have an exit, like, but they were like, no. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Here,
Yeah.
I didn't mean. So yeah, it's like that one. That moment, I think, looked like in a movie, like, or like some heist movie. I was like, yeah, if I would be having a scene in bathroom, right? Like, what are you thinking? Like, I did I already prepared all that? So um,
Yeah, I
now they're
mean,
gonna like,
it's like something you see in a movie.
right. I was shocked. It's like, and then we had like there was four securities for two cases. I was like, okay, like, and I didn't know until they finally opened the case. I didn't know like what was this for, what's gonna be. It was so like top secret. The whole shoot was top secret. So I was like, oh, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the, like, let me tell me, show me. And, then it was like, it was a little more serious than, um, but it was great. But most of the time, modeling is like very regular. It's you just go and you shoot your dresses and you go home, and then the next day is the same, and until the project ends, and you wait until next season.
And see, that's amazing because, for us, not say normal people, but people who don't do photo shoots and aren't, actors and actresses and stuff, it's not so much weird for us to hear, but it's like, you kind of are able to go, well, okay, so it there's more involved than just going, okay, do this, stand still, do this, all right, do this. There's a lot more to it, and at the end of the day, it truly is a full-time job, even though it's a different full-time job than some people have, but you still put in the time, you still put in the work.
That's exactly true. And there is so many, I think another aspect that I didn't know, that there's so many different types of modeling. So there's fit modeling, right? Fit modeling as we say fitness modeling, or and also fit model as a fit model who would go, and usually those models don't take pictures, they just go in and they get fitted, and that's it. It's like it's for the companies to see like if the sample is right. Or there is in the beginning of my career, I would be doing a lot of um like oh, I forgot the name for it. Like I did a lot of part modeling, like for my, especially for my feet and for my hands. But also I did standby. So it's like when there is would be like this big celebrity model. Um, Usually those celebrity model, they don't stand there for the light and for the for like until the crew is like putting everything together and making sure the light is correct. So they use a lot of standbys, and it has to be a model with like the same skin texture, with the same like measurements as the celebrity model. So I did a lot of that, and I didn't know that aspect, that like wow, like the big celebrity names, they usually just like arrive a little late and everything should be ready for that time. I'm not on that level, so I haven't had a standby for me, but I used to be a standby for a long time, and I would be like, wow, that's so cool. Like, 'cause I would like try the same outfit, the same like makeup and everything, and I'd stand or on like where they're supposed to stand and like and pose a little bit, but so they could like do the light and everything, and that would be it. Like usually like 2 3 hours before like the set itself.
Yeah, so essentially it's like having a stunt double, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like an and yeah.
And see, that's really cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, for modeling as well, because yes, of course, I knew that for like an acting, they would have it a lot, but I didn't know like that's in modeling as well. But yes, apparently in modeling too. So that was something I didn't know, and I don't think anybody else knows, right? So um,
So that's
well,
interesting. Yeah, because that would be if you're wanting to get into modeling, I would imagine that would be one way to try to get your foot in the door.
right. So it's like stuff like that, just like to or part modeling, which actually pays really well. Some of my part modeling projects would be paying at 800, 1,000 a day just for the hand, and it's actually so feels so much easier because you don't have to do your makeup. You just arrive, and like it's either your like uh, I would go like through the shoes, or like if it's a hand, just like holding something, and then you're just being like comfortable like in your sneakers, or you with your with your like hand up, and you don't even have to wash your hair the day before. I mean, maybe not not you.
Right? And that's
Yeah.
it's interesting that there's so many facets to the modeling industry, whether it be, like you were saying, hand modeling or trying on stuff before the actual, person that is going to be modeling it gets there. I mean, it's not at all what you would think would go on behind the scenes. So it's really interesting to hear them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's so exciting, and I'm working right now on a project to give back. It's called Modeling Explained, when I actually want to like help models to start modeling, like knowing everything and kind of like getting through the door and knowing how to be already feel like a supermodel, even without booking your big jobs yet, just like to get into the agency and knowing what to wear and how to walk and what to say, what's the right things to say to audition. So instead of like doing all the mistakes that I went through, they could like learn it with me. So I'm working on this and I'm very excited about it. Should be launching it in like 6 months, hopefully. So
Excellent.
yes, if you guys are curious, follow me and then stay tuned, like how to start modeling.
So that's actually a really good transition to one of my last questions for you is, because you are a single mother doing the type of work that you do in the modeling industry, what is that like to know that not only are you succeeding while, being a single parent, taking care of, a child, doing everything that, a parent does on a day-to-day basis, and then still being successful, and then at the same time doing all that and knowing that you're empowering women across the world to know that no matter what situation they're in, they can do it. If they just put in the work, it can be done.
I think that was actually like the one of the things that I kept telling to myself, because like when I was here and I had my baby and I honestly didn't know how to start, where to go, I would try to Google people like, oh, was there a model who was pregnant and she started like as late as I am, and I couldn't find anybody, right? So I was like, and I would get discouraged. So I thought, and then eventually when I started doing it, I thought, well, if I'll do it and if people will see it, they'll know that they can do it too. Because if I could do it, anybody else could do it, right? So it's like that's something that was actually inspiring me within. And also it feels great for me to give back to people and to like try to like say and share more on my social media about like how to make it, not only like about like, hey, look, like I did made it, but also like it is possible to make it if you put up the work and just believe and keep going. And sometimes it could take longer, sometimes it's like faster, but and eventually if you're like laying down the right direction, you're eventually gonna be there. So
Yeah, and that's like it's hard to beat that into somebody's head. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. It's hard to change somebody's mindset that says that I've been at this for 6 months or been at this for a year, or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes for some people you take off immediately, and then for others it takes some time, and it's hard to uh, be able to sit back and go, I've been at this for 2 years, whatever the case is, and I've only gone this far. And being able to see somebody like yourself that has done the things that you've done and come to this country and go through the educational process and learn how to do some of the things that you now do that you were saying earlier that you didn't really think were obtainable, and then find out that, oh, hey, yeah, I can do this.
my son arrived and I would get disconnected. Did it save it?
It did, yeah, it's still recording.
Okay, oh my goodness. It's just like this kid disconnected and then yeah, my son arrived. So like maybe we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can we find you on social media?
Yes, please follow me on social media. Instagram is Kristina with a K, Menissov, Menissov. And also follow me on Spotify. I have 2 singles coming up. So I would really love for like to connect with all of you. And here it is. My son arrived. Can you want to come say hi? Hi. Hi. Okay. And on this positive note, we're gonna wrap it up. And thank you
Sounds
so much
good.
for your time.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
I didn't hear what he said.
You cannot hear him. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.